and then the other one was like you were holding in a freaking shark.
Starting off with the Juvia's Place Nubian 2 palette, I'm going to go in the shade Madagascar, and I'm putting this all over the lid and in the crease, and just really taking time to blend that out. As you can see, I already have a highlight on that benefits high brow in like the pinkish linen pink color. Using this color Jezebel from the Nubian 2 palette, I'm going to just use the same blending brush. It's a Wayne Goss blending brush, and I am going to start blending that on the outer part of the crease and really just blow this out. This is really about layering. I'm putting it in the inner corner and the outer corner the strongest, and then just blending it through the crease. So I go back in many times and just really work that all over. Since we are going to be putting other colors on the lid, don't worry about getting anything on the lid. For my highlight, I'm using this matte shade. This is one of my favorites. It's the Sigma Ray of Light Duo, and I use the matte cream side. I'm going to go in with a little bit of a brow bone highlight later, but for now I just wanted to keep it matte. Using the shades Kenya and Jezebel from the Nubian 2 palette, I'm using a more like a smaller brush from MAC, and I'm just putting this lower but on the outer corner and the inner corner just to give it a little bit of depth. So a little bit lower than the other colors that we've used, and concentrating it a lot on the outer corner, and then just taking the excess and blending it in through the crease. Now for the star of the show, this is the Touch and Soul Metallist Liquid Foil. First I'm going to use, it's in the shade Margaret, and first I'm going to use this rose gold liquid side and put that all over the lid, and then just kind of tap it in with my finger, and then switch to the glitter side, and I'm pressing that right over top of the liquid portion, and then I'm going to use my finger and kind of press it in. Make sure you do not do your foundation first because you will get a lot of fallout. Using the shade Zobo and Fulani, or I think that's how you say it, from the Masquerade palette, Juvia's Place Masquerade palette, I'm just using that to bring a little bit more depth and a little bit more of that burgundy-ish pink shade to the look. And then using this liner from Tarte, this is the Precision Longwear liner, I'm going to just make a small line. This was a little bit tricky to put over the glitter, but if you want to use liquid liner, you can go, or gel liner, that might work better. And then I'm just swinging it out just a touch. Using some mascara before I go in with my false lashes, I'm going to use the L'Oreal Butterfly Sculpt Mascara. I love this mascara. It's a really nice formula, and I like the brush. Becca Backlight Priming Filter and Estee Lauder Double Wear Maximum Cover and Creamy Vanilla are my go-to, so I'm just using that foundation. I used a beauty blender to blend that in, and then I'm going right in with my Tarte Cosmetics Shape Tape in Light. I skipped the portion where I showed you blending in my foundation. I feel like I've done that in so many videos, so I just used a beauty blender and blended that in, and then also using the beauty blender, making sure to press in my concealer, and then I used Hourglass Diffuse Light Ambient Lighting Powder to set that. This is the NARS Rue Bonaparte Larger Than Life Liner. Any nude liner will work. In the waterline, that just opens up the eyes. Then I use Madagascar and Jezebel under my lash line and kind of smoked it out with the Jezebel. For my inner corner highlight, I'm using MAC's Nylon. So I'm just putting that in the inner corner and a little bit on the brow bone just to bring a little bit of light right at the arch. For my bottom lashes, I'm using MAC Cosmetics Extended Play Giga Black Lash. This is my favorite for the lower lash line because it's a super small wand. For my bronzer, I'm going to start off with a liquid bronzer from Giorgio Armani, and I'm just using this brush from Sigma to buff that all in. And then I'm going to top it off with Hourglass Luminous Bronze. I think it's called Luminous Bronze, but it's the ambient bronzers. I absolutely love this one. I'm just using a fluffy brush and putting that all over my face, using it to bronze up. Not really contouring, but just along the same places that I put the Giorgio Armani. Charlotte Tilbury Cheek to Chic Blush in Love Glow is one of my all-time favorites, so I'm using that here and topping it with Pure Afterglow Highlighter. Again, another one of my absolute favorites for a nice, subtle, but pretty highlight. Violet Voss Wisp It Real Good lashes, and you can use any lashes, but these are my absolute favorites. For my lips, I'm using Too Faced Cosmetics Perfect Nude Lip Liner. So I'm just going to line my lips with that. This is my favorite liner because it's just the perfect color to cheat your lip line a little bit, and it's not too obvious. So I'm just going to kind of go right on top of my lip line, and then using Juvia'S Cosmetics lip creams. These are my two favorites. First, I'm using the lightest shade in Buff. These are part of the new fall line collection. This was a little bit too light, so I wanted to put the Tawny Rose, which is the darker shade of the two that I'm using, along the outer perimeters. Are you kidding me by cracking your knuckles? My husband's ruining this voiceover in the background. This is the finished look. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe if you aren't already, and I will see you all in the next video.